using natural materials, and people will explore their inner selves through creating something from outside. And so we're working with pattern and seeing what we see that's remarkable in nature and trying to really accentuate that. There is this artist, his name's Andy Goldsworthy. He does these works all over the world, and that's what this work is inspired by. I created like this piece up in the labyrinth. I went up there and there's this pile of rocks, little stones, and I saw this beautiful moss, and I thought, okay, dark moss, light rocks. Very simple. I saw a root going through the ground. I decided, okay, I'm going to follow the root with rocks. So if you look at the Andy Goldsworthy book, you will see that he works with spectrums of color, and it takes a lot of patience, a lot of all-day collecting.
I'm trying to break out of it having to serve a function, and what I think I'm going to do is just go sit in a pile of leaves, and it's like doodling.
Yeah, I would encourage, think pattern, you know? So as open a pattern as possible is good, you know?
And we wanted to build a dam.
The Dutch woman wanted to build a dam.
There was one idea behind it, that it would be interesting to see if we could create a spiral with the water. Yeah, it could go like this, supposedly.
I was very pleased to see that unplanned, as we put the leaves around, we end up with this beautiful yellow foam. So the sculpture added its own element to it.
I know you're connecting the big rocks, but it's sort of like this whip of energy.
This one's called Nel cuore delle emozioni c'è anche sempre l'acqua morta. Which means that in the heart of emotion there's always the dead water. By dead water, it's a whitewater rafting term that means that there's always places to eddy out of the current and take a rest. I grew the cuore delle emozioni with these little berries. At first I tried to keep them up on the stable part, and I kept putting them up and they kept going down. And then I realized that if I followed my heart and I put things where I thought they should be, that nature would show me the patterns of places where things would eddy out all by themselves. And they would create their own patterns somewhere downstream. Maybe not exactly to my intention, but maybe somehow more beautiful or more wild or more consistent with natural principles.
So the other thing that's interesting for me, Krista, with this piece is the control and letting go. And you said that earlier, but it's beautiful, and I love how you illustrated it.
Let me ask you all, does this have deep meaning?
Yes!
No. I was drawn to the little red berries, like many of you were, and then I found the little acorn caps and to hold the berries. And then, I don't know, it just ended up on this rock, and I collected the goldenrod to put around it, and it kind of reminded me of a harvest.
Yeah.
I see this as a puja, or an offering to the river, and so there is something that's kind of ritual based around this, and that line of rocks, if I'm making sense of it myself, it's almost like the hands are offering it to the river.
If you look at how small the components are at the center of the flower, and the pieces that grow out to become the leaves, they're so complex all in itself. So I thought, centerpiece, fantastic. Okay.
And so the wood nymphs kind of embody the magic of the forest.
I started to make this little owl thing at the end, because the way, if you look from this side, the way the pine needles are is kind of this little wood fairy guy. So I put little eyeballs in it. And then Jay came along and he said, go a little deeper.
Yes, trying to integrate human being with the patterns of nature.
And the two green things in the middle are actually myself and my partner, Matt. I keep not having my husband in my vision. And it keeps coming back to me in my body. My vision is really powerful around healing work, which is an aspect of sustainability that I think is really important. So that's what I got out of it.
I keep omitting a partner from my vision, and so I actually need to put one in if I'm ever going to be with anybody. So I thank you for that gift.
After we hung them, they were like prayer
leaves.
flags, so we're calling them prayer leaves. And it's the thing of movement, and there's a connection along.
And there's a prayer
with
part
the
to it. At least the thing that we also talked about was going from green, the leaves are green, and then they fall to the ground, and it is fall, and they connect to the ground and the flowing water.
So we're dealing with some fluid here. We have the fluid of the river moving downstream, and then I love the counter of the wind moving upstream. And so there's this interesting play of different energy crisscrossing each other.
And so I let one leaf go down the stream, and I followed it with my finger to trace that curve, and then just went from yellows to browns with the leaves. What I liked was actually like touching them, that you can kind of give them a little brush.
They're active.
A nice like tactile feeling.
I got in the water, and I noticed there's all sorts of gravel or small stones and sand and dirt and stuff, sediment in the bottom of the river. And so I started picking that up with my hands, just kind of see what I have to work with. And I sat down here, and it just started happening.
It's beautiful. It's really well done. And it was interesting. I saw you come here, and I challenged you, and I said, so maybe something you'll find down here is going to speak to you, and go with it.
Isn't this beautiful?
Wow.
If you'd like to call it something, you know.
Yes. Spectrum of color. Yes. Spectrum of energy.
Yeah.
Spectrum
something.
of energy.
And she said, well, what about creating something that really illustrates the power of sun? It will start with the center of the sun, and the sunshine will then splash around, and it has some electric sort of power that can splash different colors.
From the center, it like give the light, and then it becomes darker, and it's come to the original one.
The spiral is a very, we see it everywhere. It's tiny and it's very huge in the galaxy, and it basically is this reflection of energy, that's moving. And I just feel really lucky to be here with all the elements of discovery that you all had. I feel blessed.